If you look back to Luke's design, you'll notice that he uses a couple icons in the app. One that you tap to open up the leaderboards view, and one that you tap to reset the game. It turns out that these particular icons are included with a massive library of symbols that comes included with iOS that you can use in your apps called SFSymbols. Let's see how we can use SFSymbols in our app and use them to create the nice rounded buttons that Luke has designed.
To download the SFSymbols app, just go to developer.apple.com/sf-symbols. I've put a link to this in the author notes. And go ahead and download the app that it links to. I've already gone ahead and done this, and when you run the app, you'll see a bunch of different categories over here, and you can either browse through if you want, or you can search in the upper nav bar. So let's try that. So the first one, to me, looks something like a list. So I'm going to type in list, and sure enough, the first one we're going to use, the name for it is list.dash. This is what we're going to use in code, so you could like write that down on paper or something for future reference. The other one we're going to need in the upper left is an arrow. It's an arrow that kind of spins around. Let's see if we can find that. Here it is, finally found it. It's arrow.counterclock, and it kind of got cut off, so I'm going to start typing that, and then I'm going to switch over to list view, and now I can see the full name, which is arrow.counterclockwise. So now that we know the names, then we can start using them in code. All right, so I'm going to get back to Xcode here. And we're going to have a new file to create all of our rounded views. So inside our views, I'm going to make a new file with the SwiftUI view template, and we'll call this roundedviews.swift. All right, and the first one we're going to create, let me fix my indentation with Command I. We'll change this to rounded image view stroked is the first one we're going to create. And I'm going to copy that, paste it there, so that's the one we're going to preview. All right, and the way this is going to work is as a parameter to the structure and also a property. We're going to have a system name, which is going to be a string. And this is going to be the name of the SF symbols we're trying to use, so like arrow.counterclockwise, for example. And the way you use one of these, and by the way, it asks us to pass, now that we've added this, pass in this as a parameter for a preview. So let's just do arrow.counterclockwise. I'm going to delete that part. I was asking for body. It's asking for that just because we haven't finished writing the body here, but we'll fix that in a minute. All right, so the way you use something from SFSymbol is through image. You can pass in one of the options here, if I scroll down, is system name, and this allows you to pass in a SF symbol, a name of an SF symbol. So we can just pass in that system name parameter. And let's just see what it looks like so far if I do Option Command P. So we can see we've successfully loaded our SF symbol. Now we want to style it a little bit to look like Luke's design here. So we have counterclockwise and we have this a little bit. So we want to style it to look like Luke has here. So quickly, we're just gonna, you've done this several times before, so I'm gonna go a little bit quicker this time. We're gonna set a font attribute, and we're gonna use .title for that. Then we're gonna set the foreground color, and we're gonna set that to the text color that we set up a couple episodes ago. All right, so you can see it's bigger now, and the color is that subtle dark gray instead of black, which is the default. Another thing we want to do is we want to set the frame to a fixed size for this. And what I pulled from Luke's design was 56 by 56. And that is optional, so I'm going to delete that bit. It's not stroked yet, but we'll do that later on. All right, now I want to preview what this looks like in both light and dark mode. And we're going to have other things in this preview as well. So I'm actually going to make a view called Preview View, which contains this, so we can put more things in it a little bit easier later on. Let me just show you what I mean. I'm going to make one called Preview View, and that's going to be a view. And it's just going to have the regular body property, and that body is going to be the rounded image view stroked. So what that's done is now I can do a preview view down here, and I can have another one that's dark mode. And remember how we did that? We can actually just click back here to see. We just have this line preferred color scheme dark. So I can just paste that in. And what that's done for us, if later on, if we want to have like two different things that we're previewing, we can easily just put it in here and have one set that we're previewing in light and one that we're in dark. So yeah, here's our dark mode down here. And right now it's changing the color because we set our text color earlier to have both a light mode color and a dark mode color. Okay, so for your challenge, you're going to need another of these rounded views later on. So let me paste this. So we have one that's stroked and we have one that's filled. So what's the difference? Here's the one that's stroked and here's the one that's filled. So we're going to call this rounded image view filled. And we're going to modify preview view to view it. So we have the arrow clockwise one. And this one's going to be, remember the other one we found was list.dash. And we're going to restart our preview with Option Command P. Oh, this isn't working because I have to put these in a VStack. And we're going to give it a little spacing. One of the things you can do with a VStack that's kind of cool is there's an option here where you can pass in some things like alignment, spacing, content, and they're all optional. So I can just put spacing if I want and set that to 10. And what that does is it puts like a 10 spacing around everything you put inside the VStack rather than you having to set padding on every single one, which is convenient. So now we have a VStack of these two things stacked together, one in light mode and one in dark mode. And in the next episode, you're going to start adding some shapes to really make these nice and styled just like Luke has in his design.